Hi everyone and welcome back to Follow the Black Cat. I'm Lex, so I'm the Black Cat. You may also know me as TigerLex333, and I'm introducing everybody today to Hannah. Hannah has been a bit of a project kind of in the making since about last summer. She is one of my haunted items that I have. Now her haunting's a little different. Her haunting is from the Awen because basically she absorbed a bit of the creator spark, and then that creator spark went ahead and turned into her. Now, Hannah does have a little bit of an interesting history, which I will discuss here briefly. She came to me from an estate last summer when the person was giving this doll up because the owner of the doll had passed on, and it had originally been a gift to the person I received Hannah from. But Hannah, sorry, my kitty Kaya is trying to help out here.
Oh, I know you.
And she's not helping.
Sorry.
It's okay. She's not helping. And behind the camera is my daughter, Alina. But anyway, Hannah came to me from this estate. And basically, this is not her first incarnation. This is her second one because the maker's mark, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very clearly on the back end of the doll, says that she was done in 1924. It does not mean her head and her hand parts are actually from 1924 though. These could be newer. It's just the fact that that's when the maker's mark are. And then when she was, so what had happened is the person who made Hannah, as you see her right now, found the head and the hands at a thrift store. She was kind of drawn to them, thought they were beautiful and that sort of thing. When Hannah came to me, basically I could see in a photograph, as somebody put up photos for their estate, that there was something to Hannah. So I collected her. She told me her name was Hannah. Afterwards, the person who I got her from was able to confirm that that was the name she had been given. And if we pan over this way for a moment, we can see what trouble
Kaya,
she's into.
Please, listen to your mother down.
And she doesn't want to listen, but of course she's only like 7 months old. What 7-month-old wants to listen? Anyhow, so Hannah here has been a doll prior to this incarnation. And from what I was able to understand from her, at that point she had been called Janet. So I often will tell people she's Hannah Janet, because Janet was actually the first incarnation. She's Hannah now. She's going to remain Hannah. And the reason why she's going to remain Hannah is because I know who she actually is. And what's going on is I decided, because I've done some of this stuff before, I thought could use some repair in that. But after kind of extendingly speaking with her and such, I'm going to fully remake her body. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit it, because I do a lot of knot magic. I can sew, but I thought maybe knitting it would be best. And so I'm going to use kind of a skin tone color for her that's similar to kind of her hair coloring, her cheek coloring, the coloring that the china is on the hands, and this sort of idea, so that she doesn't look funny type of idea. She's a uniform color. With Hannah, I'm just going to lay her down carefully here, because she is a porcelain head and porcelain hands. Picked up basically a newborn sleeper, and the body's going to fit into this sleeper. I have gone ahead and done spiritual cleansings on this, and a little diaper shirt too, once again with spiritual cleansings. I'm going to be using size 4 needles to fashion the body, and the body is going to include all of the legs, the body, and most of the arm, until of course I get to her hands, because she has her hands. Now these dolls historically, when people used to buy their parts, would also come with feet. She doesn't seem to have feet. I could be surprised when I get into this that maybe a foot's included or something, and if so, I will also include that somehow. The body itself that she currently has, I've had discussions with the doll. We're not losing any of this. The diaper I'm going to repurpose to still be her diaper in these clothes. But this part of the body and all the stuffing is going to become part of her new body and stuffing on the inside. We won't see it, but it's still going to be 100% her, so it's still going to have all of her. She's the type who likes to be snuggled. That's why you kind of see me holding her very carefully. She actually would still love to be played with and like doted on and this sort of thing. Probably a child's best. Her type of haunting also doesn't really advance. Her type of haunting, she took on the spark that she was to be a toy and a loving baby, and she has totally kept that. She is a toy, she is a loving baby. She likes this. This is one of those childhood treasures that if a child, this would be the child's childhood treasure till they pass type of idea. And from what I understand, her first incarnation, the body rotted and the parts were taken. They were just donated away. The next person to get her bought the parts, and there is actually the next person to make her did put on her own maker's mark of Lynn. I don't know how well you're able to see that. I'll try and see if I can get better pictures or whatnot later, but I'm not going to be sanding off or removing it. And Lynn recreated her in 1986. So in 1986, after her recreation like this, she did have a dress and hat and everything at the time. The person who gave it to me doesn't know what happened to those things. She was given as a gift, and she was loved and cherished and looked after and probably played with. That's probably why she doesn't have her clothes and her hat and this sort of idea. And then that person has passed on since. And so because that person's passed on, and that the person I gathered her from who originally gifted Hannah as this incarnation to her decided it was too painful for her to keep looking at Hannah, especially in this condition. She said if she would have been in her mint condition as she was made, that's fine. The maker of Hannah like this is still alive as well. I don't know if she knows that I'm remaking Hannah or not, but hopefully she won't mind, because Hannah has agreed that she would love to be remade and maybe have a little bit better of a incarnation or a body this time. I will be cleaning her head and her hands before it goes into the new body I create, but that's going to be a little ways away because it's going to take me at least a few days anyway. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to actually knit her a new body. But right now, what you're going to witness is we're going to take some measurements, because as I said, I've kind of done this stuff before. This is the first time I've ever kind of videoed it, where I've actually repaired a lot of toys, haunted and not haunted, and other items, haunted and not haunted. So, first I'm going to do, because of her head and stuff, I want to see what the size of her neck is, because her neck is important for me to get the right dimensions when I go ahead and do things up. And I'm using a soft tape measure because, well, a soft one is easier. So her neck around is 8 inches, or let's take a look here. 20.4 centimeters. And now for her arms, I'm only going to have to do the one arm because, well, honestly, they should be the same around. Now her arm around is 3.5 inches. Or for those of you like me who are actually in Canada, 8.8 centimeters. Now the other measurement I need to take with her arm is the length a little bit here, because as I said, I'm going to make it designed so that she fits into this little sleeper, which incidentally actually has little mitten pockets on it and stuff like that. So she's going to be a little bit more like an actual baby. And yet, that's only 1/2 inch. And feeling inside, because I have to kind of feel inside, it goes to a full inch. Which in centimeters is 0.4 centimeters. So that's what I have to do basically for her measurements, because once again, she's not going to have this shape. She's probably going to be a little more elongated, a little bit more looking like a true baby. And when we're done, we'll have to see what happens from there. If she goes to a new loving home to be a doll to be played with, it would take a very special buyer, I would have to say, to go ahead and do that. And I'm saying the word buyer, and I don't necessarily mean I'll sell her. It all depends on who and where the right person is for Hannah. And some of the other materials you'll see that here is I'm using like 100% a polyfill. This is 100% acrylic yarn that I'm going to be using. They're cotton sleepers. We're keeping it very organic because when she gets the transfer, even though all of her original body will be a part of her, she'll be able to move and extend out into the rest of the new body, making it easier on her. I will not be making her anatomically correct. I will make sure she's got like little feet and stuff like that, but I'm not worried about putting in toes necessarily and all that. I kind of have to see how it feels as I'm going ahead and creating her. Now, the last little thing I'm going to do here happens to do with this little sleeper, because I need to know how big to make her body and stuff like that. And it's easiest actually for her body length to go from the back and from the back of the sleeper, and this is a neonatal, which I thought would match in better with her head because preemie babies are extra tiny babies. So I am measuring here, and it is 10 inches, or 25.5 centimeters. And for the little arms, I need to measure it out minus 1 inch because, well, her arms are going to have that extra inch on it. So when I measure, it says her arm should be 7.5 inches. So I have to minus 1. So I have to make them 6.5 inches in length. And that 6.5 will equal 17.5 centimeters. And last but not least, her legs. Because her legs, now on a sleeper, it's best to do that kind of from the side. So her legs need to be about 5 inches long. Or 12.7 centimeters. And lastly, her little feet, so that way there I can have a foot on her, are 2 inches. Or 5 centimeters. So there are all the measurements written down. And yes, I will be going through measurements upon measurements upon measurements as I go ahead and create her. We are not going to film me knitting and stuff because honestly you will probably all fall asleep anyway, but we will do a daily update as to how far I've gotten with the knitting. I am left-handed, so my knitting looks a lot like everybody else's, but I actually knit with two hands. It's hard to kind of explain unless you've actually seen me knit. If you look back on the channel or any of my social media, I probably have filmed me actually knitting at some point. I've taught other left-handed people how to knit the way that I do. My mom taught me because it was the only way to kind of get it into my head how that was done. And Hannah, like, even the feeling I've got from her right now, she's a little nervous, she's a little scared, but she knows she's not actually losing her body. She's going to end up gaining something better in the long run for her to be held and played with and stuff like that again. So if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and ask them, and I can either address them in the next video or I'll answer you directly in the comment section here. If you really want to, you can email me at followtheblackcat@outlook.com. It's all one word type of idea, so there's no things there. You can also visit me on Instagram or Facebook, but the videos will only be posted here to YouTube. I hope you enjoyed today and meeting Hannah for the first time. Let me know what your thoughts are once again and any comments you have, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.